Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Donald Trump and what lawmakers are now demanding, feel that Donald Trump should provide a cognitive test, because of all the actions he has done since being a sitting president. There are many opportunities they could have gotten this cognitive test, as far as I'm concerned. But at the end of the day, Donald Trump is a white male, and they will overlook virtually everything he does and act like they are helpless to taking any action against him when they should be taking action. The bottom line is, how y'all gonna let somebody start a war? You know he was supposed to come to Congress. And y'all just kinda sat back and watched this whole thing happen, and it's still not out of the woods because that ceasefire is very shaky, and it's only 2 weeks, and I think we're already, what, 1 week out? So, it just looks bad that they didn't try to do anything to Donald Trump. So, I mean, why ask for a cognitive test if you know at the end of the day you're going to do this testing and nothing is going to be done? You're just going to look at the test and then kind of move on. And at this point, I doubt if he'll even go along with it. He may not even go along and give them any kind of testing. He can refuse, right? He can flat out refuse to do the testing. Do I think Donald Trump have some issues? Absolutely, I do. I've been watching all of the things that we can physically see. We saw those swollen cankles. We saw the bruising on both hands. Um, we saw him dozing off and always sleeping, and he's wide awake at night online. And yeah, he's showing some definite signs of dementia. And you got to remember, Donald Trump's mother and father had dementia. I know a lot of people mention his father, but if you go and look at stories online, his mother had it too. So, that being said, yeah, it's a great chance that he has it, and even if he does have full blown dementia, they gonna still let him sit in the presidency. They're not gonna do nothing to Donald Trump. And you can also see he lacks empathy. He lacks empathy. But if something happens to him, he wants you to drop everything and listen to what he's ranting about. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video so you can hear what at least one of the lawmakers are saying. But at the end of the day, I don't even think Donald Trump would cooperate and do any cognitive test. I think he would just blow Congress and the Senate off. It was more so Congress, you know? And as far as impeachment, what's the point if you're going to impeach him and he gets to stay in office? What's the point? You know, y'all sure rigged up the system so it always comes out in your favor. Y'all sure did. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Yeah, well, see, Chris, that's why he wanted the presidency. As long as he's the sitting president, he can avoid jail. That's the only reason why he really wanted it. He was trying to keep his ass out of jail. That's one thing you can clearly tell he fears. He fears going to jail. Thank you for the ones.
We have breaking news right now. Congress is asking the White House for a cognitive exam of President Donald Trump. House Judiciary member Jamie Raskin, the ranking member on the committee, has formally requested that the United States president submit to a cognitive examination. Quote, experts have repeatedly warned that the president has been exhibiting signs consistent with dementia and cognitive decline. And in recent days, the country has watched President Trump's public statements and outbursts turn increasingly incoherent, deranged, and threatening. Here's what Congressman Raskin asks of the White House physician: conduct a comprehensive neurophysical assessment of the president, including a formal cognitive screening instrument, and publicly release the results. Provide a detailed report on the president's current mental and physical health status, including any medications he is currently taking and their potential cognitive side effects, and making him available under oath, him, the doctor that does the cognitive exam, with members of Congress of the results of the assessment by April 24th, 2016, in 2 weeks. Spread the word. Follow for more.
After experts have repeatedly warned that Donald Trump is exhibiting signs consistent with dementia, we now have members of Congress officially requesting the White House doctor perform a cognitive exam on Donald Trump. As Republican congressional leaders have repeatedly said, the American people deserve to know whether our president is mentally capable of making the life or death decisions that this office demands. No later than 5 p.m. on April 24th of 2026, which is 14 days from now. 1. Conduct a comprehensive neuropsychological assessment of the president, including a formal cognitive screening instrument, and publicly release the results. 2. Provide a detailed report on the president's current mental and physical health status, including any medications he's taking and their potential cognitive side effects. And 3. Make yourself available for a briefing under oath with members of the committee on the results of this assessment. I look forward to your prompt compliance with this important and urgent oversight request. This is very, very important, and we need to place pressure on this administration to be more transparent about the president's health.
Representative Jamie Raskin has called for a full investigation of Trump's cognitive abilities. In a letter to Sean Barbella, the naval captain serving as Trump's doctor, he argued Trump's words and actions have raised enough concerns to merit a comprehensive cognitive assessment. Raskins wrote, experts have repeatedly warned that the president is exhibiting signs consistent with dementia and cognitive decline. And in recent days, the country has watched the President Trump's public statements and outbursts turn increasingly incoherent, volatile, profane, deranged, and threatening. His apparent deteriorating condition has caused tremendous alarm across the nation about his president's cognitive function and the continuing mental fitness for the office of the president, and prompted concerns about the president's well-being. This is good news, and I really hope that when they find he's experiencing dementia and whatever else he's experiencing, it helps the case of his removal, because they will find that. Granted, they will likely lie about that and not tell us that, but they will find that, and hopefully, if they lie about it, it gets them called out by Congress. The man is very clearly deranged. He needs to be shut down. He cannot continue to go and say that we need to fucking kill every single person in Iran. Like, that's not okay. You know, that should be a sign right away. Unfortunately, it isn't in this country. With that being said, thank you everyone for watching this video. Like and repost to get the information out, and drop a follow for more news content. Later, guys. Have a good one.
Breaking news as Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin has formally requested a comprehensive cognitive test on President Trump after his wild remarks from over the weekend. This appears to be part of a broader push to build a case for invoking the 25th Amendment, which would allow for the removal of a president who is deemed unable to discharge the powers of the president. Raskin sent a letter to White House physician Sean Barbella requesting this cognitive exam. Raskin insisted that he conduct a comprehensive neuropsychological assessment of the president along with a cognitive screening instrument and release the results publicly. Raskin said that Trump's demand to open the fucking strait and the threat to kill Iran's whole civilization are plainly out of the realm of normal politics. Raskin wrote, "We have indisputably entered the realm of profound medical difficulty and concern." Raskin also asked for a report on Trump's physical and mental health, including a list of any medications he's currently taking and their potential cognitive side effects. He also wants Barbabella to make himself available for a briefing under oath with members of the House Judiciary Committee on the results of this assessment. Raskin sent this letter just before he is set to give a briefing on the 25th Amendment to fellow House Democrats. Now, will this actually happen or go anywhere? Probably not. The White House is unlikely to comply with this. Trump will likely deny this, but you never know. Maybe he will go through with it. I'm not sure which is scarier, the fact that Trump might be cognitively impaired, or if he's found to have passed all these exams, that he was doing these actions of sound mind. Let me know what you think about this, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Finally, Democrats in the House of Representatives are demanding that Donald Trump publicly release his cognitive exams and take a new cognitive exam in public as his physical and mental health continues to deteriorate. Scott MacFarlane from the Midas Touch Network got the scoop. Ranking members of House Judiciary Committee formally asked the White House physician to conduct cognitive exams of Donald Trump and to post it publicly unedited, citing Truth Social posts and Trump's statements at the Easter egg roll. Quote, experts have repeatedly warned that the president has been exhibiting signs of consistent dementia, and signs that are consistent with dementia and cognitive decline. And in recent days, the country has watched President Trump's public statements and outbursts turn increasingly incoherent, volatile, profane, deranged, and threatening. And as long-term viewers of the Midas Touch Network, you know, we've been focused on this for a very long time. I want to share with you this very powerful letter from Democratic Congressmember Jamie Raskin, who chairs, or he will be the chair of the House Judiciary Committee if Democrats take back the House. He's now the ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee. Here's his letter to Donald Trump's physician, Sean Barbarella. Here's what it says. According to former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, long one of Donald Trump's staunchest political allies, the president has, quote, gone mad. This is a medical judgment that I am not qualified to make, but I understand what Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking about. Experts have repeatedly warned that the president has been exhibiting signs consistent with dementia and cognitive decline. And in recent days, the country has watched President Trump's public statements and outbursts turn increasingly incoherent, volatile, profane, deranged, and threatening. His apparently deteriorating condition has caused tremendous alarm across the nation and political spectrum about the president's cognitive function and continuing mental fitness for the office of the president, and prompted concerns about the president's well-being at a time when our country is at war, especially when the war was initiated by the president without congressional declaration or consent. The American people must be able to trust that the commander-in-chief has the mental capacity to discharge the essential duties of his office. I therefore request that you conduct a comprehensive cognitive assessment of President Donald Trump, provide the results to Congress, and make yourself available to brief Congress on your findings. Republicans and Democrats alike have recognized that presidential cognitive fitness is a matter of urgent and essential public concern, and that it warrants rigorous congressional oversight. Calling former President Joe Biden's mental acuity one of the greatest scandals in our nation's history, Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer actually subpoenaed the White House physician and issued a comprehensive staff report on the subject. Judiciary Committee Chairman Jordan declared that the president, who is not cognitively fit, isn't fit for office. I trust that both chairmen will stand by his important principle today, with the country in an uproar over the president's recent fulmination and mad threats. President Trump's recent behavior has raised unsettling questions about his mental state. On Easter Sunday morning, the 79-year-old president of the United States posted the following message on Truth Social at 8:03 a.m. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one. In Iran, there will be nothing like it. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. The post combined vulgarity and profanity, unprecedented threats of mass civilization destruction, and a sarcastic invocation of Islam on Easter morning, a bizarre display that shocked tens of millions of Americans and astonished observers across the political spectrum. Then at the White House Easter egg roll the following day, the president, flanked by the Easter bunny and surrounded by hundreds of children in pastel dresses and bunny ears, launched into an inexplicable rant about the Iran war, describing bombing missions, down fighter jets, and rescue operations to an audience of small children. He then told the assembled children that he could sign autographs and the kids could sell them for $25,000 on eBay before descending the White House steps with labored physical difficulty, gripping the First Lady for support, and displaying visible dark bruising on his right hand. On Tuesday morning, the president dramatically escalated his disturbing rhetoric with the following post on Truth Social. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. In a dashed off social media post, the president of the United States threatened to commit war crimes or even genocide on a country of more than 90 million people. Legal experts and world leaders, including the Pope, have repudiated those threats and warned that any strikes on civilian infrastructure and populations would constitute war crimes. The deep and growing alarm about the president's mental fitness does not follow party lines. Some of the president's most prominent allies and former allies have been sounding the loudest alarms of all. Former Representative Green, one of President Trump's fiercest defenders in Congress, after declaring that the president has gone insane, called for the invocation of the 25th Amendment. Tucker Carlson, who campaigned for the president in 2024, called the Easter egg Sunday post vile on every level and urged members of the administration to figure out the codes on the nuclear football to prevent catastrophe. Candace Owens called the president a genocidal lunatic and demanded that our Congress and military need to intervene. Even Alex Jones warned that the president sounds like an unhinged supervillain and asked on his broadcast, how do we 25th Amendment his ass? These concerns are widespread, with medical experts and the majority of Americans now believing the president lacks the mental sharpness and physical health to serve effectively. And they cite a poll where the majority or significant majority of Americans say Trump is unfit and the 25th Amendment needs to be invoked. This is plainly out of the realm of normal politics. When the president of the United States threatens to extinguish a civilization on social media, rants about combat missions with children at the Easter egg roll, and drops profane tirades on Easter morning, we have indisputably entered the realm of profound medical difficulty and concern. In October 2025, you issued a statement declaring that the president continues to demonstrate excellent overall health. In light of the president's extreme behavior over the past week, to say nothing of his conduct in office more broadly, the public must know whether you will stand by that assessment. As Republican congressional leaders have repeatedly said, the American people deserve to know whether our president is mentally capable of making life or death decisions that his office demands. Accordingly, no later than 5 p.m. on April 24th, 2026, I insist that you, 1, conduct comprehensive neurophysical assessments of the president, including a formal cognitive screening instrument, and publicly release the results. 2, provide a detailed report on president's current mental and physical health status, including any medications that he is currently taking and their potential cognitive side effects. And 3, make yourself available for a briefing under oath with members of the committee on the results of this assessment. I look forward to your prompt compliance with this important and urgent oversight request. Very truly yours, Jamie Raskin, ranking member, and he copies the Honorable Jim Jordan. Now, while Democrats don't control Congress at this stage, when Democrats are able to take control, which many believe will take place after the midterms, this letter can be enforced via an actual subpoena, getting Donald Trump's doctors to testify, producing the actual records, making Donald Trump's cognitive exams public. And you'll recall that when Donald Trump talks about these cognitive exams, Donald Trump's own statements are that I aced him, and it's a good thing I aced him because these are public exams. These are meant for the public. So if I didn't do good, the whole public would get to see it. Donald Trump also said that he was willing to publicly release MRI records, but then it turned out that He claimed he never got an MRI, even though he said he didn't know the distinction between an MRI and a CT scan, even though he originally said it was an MRI. And they said it was an MRI of just the abdomen, which is not a thing that happens. Then he said that it was a CT scan of just the abdomen, and none of it made sense at all. But Donald Trump also said that these were public records and he was going to make them available. And of course, he lies about everything and didn't make them publicly available. And so why I'm bringing that up is if Donald Trump tries to claim, oh, I can't release, these are private medical files. These are part of my HIPAA records, right? The Health Privacy Act. We should point to those statements and say, well, actually, you recognize that your cognitive exams were public, as well as all of these tests were public, and you got to make them public as the president of the United States. Also, where are the medical records when Donald Trump was, allegedly shot in Pennsylvania, when there was the alleged assassination attempt? Remember, they were going to release the medical records from that hospital, and Trump claims he got shot with an AR-15 bullet in the ear. But he said he just got a little scratch on it, but the AR-15 bullet hit. Well, that document was never produced either. The hospital record, instead, he got one of these MAGA Republican Congress members, to basically write, Randy Jackson to write a letter saying, I've reviewed it and he's in perfect health, impeccable shape. Okay. And then, he says that he weighs he's 6'4", 6'3.5", and 220 pounds. And that his health is this is what his current doctor, this guy says, that his current health has been demonstrated by the fact that he wins golf tournaments all of the time. And that shows his current health because of his golf tournament wins. Just like clownish stuff. And as you know, on Midas Health, we have Dr. Vin Gupta, who's been breaking this down. I have Dr. Vin Gupta on once or twice a week, and Dr. Gupta and I discuss Donald Trump's deteriorating health. And so keep you posted every step of the way here. Make sure you hit subscribe. That's the letter from the Democrats in Congress. We'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron.
It says experts have repeatedly warned that the president has been exhibiting signs consistent with dementia and cognitive decline. And in recent days, the country has watched President Trump's public statements and outbursts turn increasingly incoherent, volatile, profane, deranged, and threatening. His apparently deteriorating condition has caused tremendous alarm across the nation and political spectrum about the president's cognitive function and continuing mental fitness for the office of president, and prompt concerns about the president's well-being. At the time when our country is at war, especially when the war was intimidated by a president without congressional declaration or consent, the American people must be able to trust that the commander-in-chief has the mental capacity to discharge the essential duties of his office.
Of President Trump. And if you're wondering why this is being asked for, well, take a look at President Trump's Truth Social and everything he's been saying about Iran and all the other crazy stuff he's been talking about. Talking about mass destruction, destroying a whole civilization, stuff like that. Those are things that people with a stable mental health don't say. And of course, the White House is like, no, we're not going to do this. This is just a political move and whatnot. But let's get a little political for a minute. President Trump and former President Biden are the exact same age. When Biden was doing the stuff that he was doing, we were all questioning that stuff. And we were all demanding for the same things to be done because we knew that Biden wasn't all there. And the White House did a phenomenal job at hiding it. Now we see the same thing with President Trump, and the White House is doing a phenomenal job at hiding it. And after former President Biden was removed from office, it came out that he was in fact having all these disorders. So why are we not questioning President Trump, who is the exact same age as Biden? But what do you think about this whole situation? Let me know in the comments below.
Okay. Well, I think he should be examined, but I think it should be, tied to them getting him out of office if he's unfit. I just think America need to reconsider electing these old ass men. I think once you reach a certain age, you should not even be eligible to run for office. 79, 80, that's just too old. It's too old. And you can literally see the health problems on Donald Trump. You know, it's like he looks terrible to me. His eyes look very swollen. You could tell there's a lot going on that they don't want to reveal to the public, but you can see Donald Trump and his eyes are swollen, his hands are both jacked up, and and every now and then his speech is slurred. I noticed that too. And they're just going to keep on acting like he's in great shape. It is very obvious Donald Trump is far from being in great shape. They can say that. Oh, I heard one of like, what's that? Carolyn Levitt. You know, Donald Trump is far from being in great shape. You can see the health problems on him. So, will they do anything? I highly doubt it, y'all. Oh, and by the way, I've found out why Melania came out to do that speech trying to deny knowing Jeffrey Epstein. There is a woman that was within that Epstein circle along with Donald Trump, Melania, and Maxwell. She was Brazilian and she recently got deported by ICE. She is mad, she is bitter, and she went out on X and posted, I think her name is Amanda Ungaro, and she's Brazilian. And she was within that circle along with Trump and Melania. She went out on X and threatened to reveal all about Melania, Donald Trump, Epstein. She's very upset about being deported and she has nothing to lose. So if she drops a dime on Melania, she's way over in Brazil, you know? So that's why she came out with that speech. Will it save her? Who knows? Who knows? But this woman is claiming to know a lot about Melania, you know, and she is ready to reveal it. Yes, she's ready to reveal everything. So, my thing is, Amanda Ungaro, man, stop chattering. Tell all. Go ahead and tell all because I'm sure she's going to be able to reveal things that most of us would not know because she was an insider. So, that being said, we'll see what she comes out with. She claims she's going to she's going to put it all out there. And we'll see. You know, and she looked like she's a wealthy woman, but they got her ass the hell up on out of here. And that might be the reason why they got her out, is because of everything that she knows. I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump and Melania set her up to get deported. Yeah, deport her. Melania, maybe you should self-deport out of here. So anyway, y'all, we'll see what she comes out with. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I deeply appreciate it. And I'll be back with more. You know, it is so much to talk about these days. Shabbat Shalom, family.